So we've been at the 125 cap for about 2 years now. I want to say 3 years, but 2 years now. Chapter 14 was the introduction of 125 cap, and it's been about 2-3 years since that has happened. So it's about time now. Level cap has increased. I think the devs say that they do want to go ahead and do 130 cap eventually, probably like the next map, chapter 16. But there probably has to be some changes to it because it's super time gated, especially if you're a newer player. Getting a 130 ship is going to be very difficult, let alone a 125 ship. Alright, so 130 can change a lot of the dynamics in this game. If you guys don't already know, a lot of this game revolves around being higher or very close to the levels of your enemies so you don't get that damage reduction. Alright, so for example, meta 15 fights, these things are level 125 right here. You do 128 I think, right? I can test right now, but basically these things here, you don't do as much on level 15 meta fights as you do with normal fights because of that my green screen, because of that level difference. When the enemies are higher level than you, you don't do as much damage. Oh, 126, but whatever. So that's why a lot of people, when they do test runs, they do they look at level 14 and they're like, oh, it's a level 122 ship. That must mean the level 15 is gonna be very, very easy. It really isn't. You have to do a lot of damage testing with your DPS in order to see how exactly much DPS you do compared to the boss's health. Otherwise, you're not gonna meet the damage threshold. So when you consider 130, a lot of the enemies in this game are going to be out-leveled. The only time you're not going to out-level an enemy is when you're doing hard Arbiter fights. And in that case, you're going to be even levels with the hard Arbiter. And that still is going to make it very easy compared to 125 cap. So, yeah. So, I think if they do want to do the 130 cap, there's going to be a lot of changes to the game. I think EX mode for events is definitely going to be one of the changes to the game by far, because it's already going to be 125. And I think they want to keep the difficulty of EX modes like dodging or whatever. So there's that. Chapter 16 I think is going to be even. But again, chapter 14 is going to be power crept like crazy. Chapter 13 as well too. 15 maybe sort of might get it as well too. But I think for the most part though, just those maps. And then meta fight has to go to level 16 or something. It's going to be drastic, guys. It's gonna be all over the place, but there's gonna be a lot of changes. Now, this is also really good in the sense that if you guys are struggling with campaign right now, a 130 ship could probably carry you all the way to chapter 13 easily, probably 14. Because I know some of you guys have level 125 ships. They're like, Kimo, I can't do level or chapter 13 or whatever. Yeah, you can. At 125, you definitely can do chapter 13. It is gonna be very easy for you at that level. But 120 though, a little bit difficult, but you still can do it. So I really do want to see some dynamic changes to the game. Now I know a lot of people are thinking oh, Kimo, I don't even have 125s yet. How are you gonna think about 130 ships? They just gotta make it in a way that it's not super time gated. 125 right now is super time gated. Just because 125 is a time gate doesn't mean 130 has to be a time gate. They just gotta add some way to make it so new players, old players or whatever aren't stuck doing this abnormal grind for their 125 caps and 130 caps or whatever. So what I want to see is add more sources of getting mats for upgrading. A good example is OS, because right now I can tell you guys, aside from gear lab upgrades and gold plates, no one really wants to do OS. So adding more incentives to do OS would be kind of an okay bandage. I think this will also make it so people has to do OS to get awakening mats, because no one really wants to do that at all. But it also gives more incentive to do OS because again, not everyone or there's not much reasons to do OS aside from gold plates and just gear upgrades or whatever. So again, I do want to see ways to do it, but at the same time, they've been at this 125 thing for so long now. If you guys haven't realized it, I was really anticipating 125 or chapter 15 to have a 130 cap because you're pushing higher levels, right? But they made it so easy now because they nerfed it multiple times to the point where it's a joke now. And we have so many ships to deal with chapter 15 as well too. So dynamics has to be changed. I don't think we're getting chapter 16 anytime soon, but I will tell you guys that the moment they announce chapter 16, it has to be 130 cap this time around, because you're pushing like level 130 mobs at this point, right? If you guys haven't realized it, if you look at the enemy level differences from like chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up until 12, they have decent amount of gaps in between them, about like 5 or so levels each chapter. But when you get to like chapter 13, the level increase like closes down a lot. Like the gap closes like 120, or sorry, chapter 13 is the highest level is like 122 or something like that, right? And then chapter 14 highest level is like 126 or something, or 127. And then chapter 15 we have like 129 and 128, which is barely like any level difference at all. So they're doing it because they are aware of the level difference mechanic in the game. They're just too like stubborn to try to fix it. Like it's not a bad fix, honestly. Like I'm pretty sure they can go into the code and be like, let's just make the damage reduction from being lower levels, higher levels, like not as bad. But I think at this point the game is so old now that they're just too afraid of doing it. But yeah, I do want to see like more activities to try to balance out the game, because right now my best advice to most new players is just level up your ships to like 110, 120, and you'll just slap all the gameplay in the game. I think some of you guys are okay with that, but I'm pretty sure if the devs actually try to add more depth to the game by doing so. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have on mind. I do want to talk about this because I reached a point in the game where, aside from like event discussions and like ship discussions, like I want to give feedbacks to the game as well too. I'm not sure if the devs actually watch my videos, but I just think like unironically sometimes when I make a video talking about like, oh guys, we need content where there's more UR ships available or stuff like that, or like we use more fleets, and then we get 5 fleet content like not even like 3 weeks later. I think that's funny. So on the off side that the devs do watch my videos, hey, listen, I do appreciate what this game has done over the years. They catered towards the Coomers, all that jazz. That's good, right? But all I'm saying is that you can get pretty far by having a Coomer game as well as having a game that's really, really fun as well too. Just because you want to be the lead in like Coomer gotcha games or whatever doesn't mean you can't have a fun game as well too. It's just something to keep in mind, something to work on. And then honestly, if I'm excited about playing a game like long term, because I am, right? Because I played this game for 6 years now. The more fun I am at having like end game content, the more videos I'm gonna make, and it's just gonna snowball essentially, right? Because whenever I find content I really enjoy, I make a lot of videos out of it, and it's just good for me and it's good for you guys as well too. So devs, try your best. All right, that's all I want to say. Short video, nothing to rant about. Just give me some feedback on how to improve the game moving forward. All right, so thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm out of here. Have a good one. See you guys next video.